Welcome to First Pitch for Thursday, July 25th. I'm joined today with our resident expert here for baseball, Mr. Dave Cokin, and Ralph Michaels, as I like to refer to him as the Stat Man Michaels. I'm your host, Marco D'Angelo, sitting in for the Prez. Shocker, guys. He's on another vacation. Can you believe that?
Tough life.
Yeah.
Tough life. By the way, I'm going to throw this in. Just published at Twitter, Ralph Michaels with his most and least profitable pitchers for the month of July. Good stuff.
And just like the Cardinals, up and down, the top pitcher for July is a Cardinal, and the least most profitable pitcher for July is a Card since June 1st is a Cardinal.
Well, they definitely have been up and down all season, but they're playing well right now. Unfortunately, my Pittsburgh Pirates taking it to them in this series. Guys, we'll get things started. A couple of the games already underway today, so we won't be looking at those games. But let's get the cards started and head into afternoon start. We've got talk about a team in free fall. Colorado Rockies at Washington. You guys know I'm high on Washington. Big number today, but I don't know. Is there any way you can look to step in front of Scherzer right now? 35-1 strikeout to walk ratio right now. That's just sick with Big Max in Colorado. As I said, they're in just total free fall, guys. How do you see this one, Dave?
It's a 300 line. It's up higher than that, actually, in some spots. I don't want the Rockies. Hoffman has not shown that he can get guys out at the big league level with any consistency. I know Scherzer's coming off a brief stint on the IL, but he should be fine. The guy's an absolute horse. No, I'm not going to try and get in the way of Scherzer, and I'm not laying $3.
Ralph, you look at this one, Colorado 3-15 in the month of July. One stat I did come up with in this one, if you're looking at the total, and believe it or not, Colorado's actually played some unders here recently, the way they had been getting pounded. But they're 9-1 to the under in road games this season, following a game where they scored one run or less, and that would definitely apply today if you want to jump in there and take an under. Do you see any value in anything in this game?
Well, let's add to that the Washington Nationals are also 3-12 over under their last 15. The one thing I will say, you talked about the Rockies, how bad they are. That actually goes back a few losses more. They're 3-17 their last 20, and you haven't been afraid to play the run line against the Rockies. They are only 2-18 on the run line in that stretch. So not only are they losing, they're losing by multiple runs each and every game.
Yeah, they're about to go into sell mode. They're gonna move a couple of players, which makes total sense.
Dave, these teams, just touch on the trade deadline. These teams that are, officially going to wave the white flag. Do you look at this and, teams in as far as mental standpoint, how does it affect the team?
You know what? I don't, unless we're in the clubhouse, I don't think you can get a gauge on that.
All right, good stuff there. I think it's tougher, at least a team like Colorado, you're going nowhere. But those fringe teams that are teetering on being a seller or a buyer, I do think you got to look there, because if they go one way or the other, either you get that vote of confidence if they go out and pick up some pieces, but if they go ahead and sell when you got that close, and the team I would be zeroing in on would be a team like the San Francisco Giants. This is a team that's played well in the month of July. They were sellers all summer, and all of a sudden, do you want to gamble for a wild card? That's what it comes down to.
Well, and the thing is, there's still a week to go. So there's still 5 or 6 games for these teams, and I don't think we're going to know right up until the day before the deadline whether the Giants and a couple of other teams are going to sell, buy, or stand pat. So I don't factor it in too much. I just kind of cap the games like I usually do, because what do I need to do? Guess at another variable? Because that's all it is a guess. And I'm not, I'm going to guess at something. It's not going to be this. I'll guess at a soccer game or something like that. Well, I won't either. No. But I'm not a guess gambler. I mean, I want an edge, and I don't think there's unless you really have some good information, someone close to the team who can provide some insight, I don't see whether you're doing anything there than guessing as to what the mindset of a team is.
Ralph, we'll go to the American League, and we've got a good game on the schedule as far as rivalry goes. Yankees and Boston. I got a question, man. The Yankee bullpen right now, after that series in Minnesota, they got to be running on fumes. And I actually was surprised to see them will out Chapman again last night after a 29-pitch performance the night before. That's got to, there's no locks in life, but I got to say, if it's a save opportunity, I don't think you see Chapman tonight. And if you do, I wouldn't want to see him 3 days in a row the way he's had to pitch. Do you see that as any edge in this game to want to look at, taking a shot with an inferior team? Because let's face it, this year Boston doesn't stack up to the Yankees, but we've seen the money in this game. There's been early movement towards the Red Sox side.
Well, that's because, like you said, the Yankees pitchers have gone 4 innings, 3 2/3, and 3 1/3 their last 3 games. Now, from a managing standpoint, I love the move. The Twins are a team you may see. Let's take advantage. Let's win 2 out of 3 in Minnesota. Let's win the last 2 in the series. Let's show we can dominate them, and let's put Chapman in their head when it gets to a potential playoff matchup. So that I know. When they're playing the Red Sox, they know what they're going to get. They're 10 games clear in the division. They've handled the Red Sox. Tanaka's won 8 games in a row. New York, 9-2 as an away favorite, and 22-10 the last 32. And how about this, Dave? Your Boston Red Sox, going back to May 2016, 6-16 as a home dog, including 0-6 this year in the home dog role. If you're going to play the Yankees, I'd play them first 5.
Well, I don't want the Boston bullpen, that's for sure. The Yankees bullpen, even on fumes, might be better. But I'm leaving bullpens out of the mix. I think Boston does have an advantage here situationally. I don't think there's any question about that. The scheduling dynamics do favor the Red Sox here. But can you rely on Rick Porcello? He's been bad. Okay, good offenses can get to him. I agree with the line move. I think that it makes sense to be on the Red Sox tonight. But I won't be playing it because I have no faith in Porcello, whose numbers just suck. I mean, they just suck. I mean, right up and down the line, you go through. It doesn't matter what category you want to find on him. I'm looking at the sheet that's right next to me. They're all bad. So it's an unwilling pass because I think I should be playing the Red Sox tonight, but I'm not going to.
Hey, Marco, there's not many pitchers that in their last 5 starts have a 10.57 ERA, yet are 3-1 over that span.
No,
that's just good fortune.
You talk about this game and with the total. I'll throw a couple numbers out for you. You definitely are not going to be playing any unders in this series, that's for sure. Of course, the last time these two hooked up, it was in London, and that was just craziness. But here's a stat on the Yankees. The last 2 seasons, when the bullpen has thrown 4 or more innings of relief in 3 straight games, the Yankees are 15-5 to the over in the next game. And if you blindly just play the Yankees on the road and play the over, guys, you're looking at a 30-12 record to the over this season. You talk about when there's cliches, we know that the Yankees are a public team. We know that overs are a public bet. The books got to cringe on a nightly basis whenever they look up at the scoreboard and it's the 7th inning and there's double digits up there on a Yankee game because they're getting slaughtered all season, the books. That's got to be probably one of the single worst categories for the books this season, and it just continues.
And no, they're getting tanked this year. I mean, it's been a good year for public bettors.
No question about that. Moving to a very good game tonight, and this is one where you've got the White Sox in their not rookie sensation, but young sensation pitcher with Giolito on the mound, going against Minnesota and Barrios. This Minnesota team, I said this the other day with Tampa Bay after they came back home that first game against the White Sox on the weekend, and I said, you know what, this might be a great situational spot to fade Tampa after having that dose of reality series with the Yankees losing the final 3. Now I got to wonder, Minnesota, as you said, Ralph, they got measured up against the Yankees. They're going to probably face down the road, and the Yankees showed them who the superior club is. What's their mindset going to Chicago tonight off of that series where they burned a ton of pitchers as well?
Well, their mindset is they know that their lead against the Indians is now down to 2 games. That puts pressure on them. They know that, they've taken 4 of 6 against the White Sox this year, but they have added pressure. You look at Berrios. I mean, he went out, and there's not many pitchers that you say he gave up no runs. He pitched 113 pitches, yet he only went to 5 2/3 innings. So he really got stretched last time. Went to a lot of counts, gave up 3 walks, had 4 strikeouts. But Giolito, who knows what you get? His previous 5 starts, he had a 6.48 ERA. He got it back together in his last start. I think the pressure on the Twins and the White Sox with the division rival, I like the under in this game.
Dave, with Berrios, here's a number where if you look at his last 3 starts and you just look at the ERA, you're going to say 3.45, not bad. Okay, we can live with that, middle of the road. But then you look at his WHIP, and his WHIP is 1.65, and where it's coming from is he's had 9 walks in his last 15 innings on the mound. You can't keep doing that and getting away with it. Do you see regression coming here for Berrios? Or?
I think it's just a little bit of an off stretch where he's had some command issues. The guy's a real good pitcher, and he could very well go out there and bounce back tonight with a tremendous performance. Giolito, a little inconsistent lately, but not a lot of worries with him either. He's solid. I did make this. This is actually my only play today. A little action on the White Sox first 5. I actually like him in the game, but I'm not playing full games unless it fits an angle or 2 that I like and have had some success with, because I don't want any bullpens. I'm just done with the suckers. Okay, no more bullpens, and I think that's good advice. Okay. Because if you think you can handicap bullpens, I'll tell you right now you can't. There are no handicappable bullpens right now. Even the Giants bullpen that is showing some chinks in the armor. So I just looked at the first 5 here, and I do think it could be a tired spot for the Twins. Oh, one other thing, if you were just talking about the bullpens for a second, the Twins bullpen got a night off last night. Despite the fact they lost the game and gave up a lot of runs, Devin Smeltzer pitched 5 innings. So everybody else in the bullpen got the night off. And so their bullpen's not so tired coming into this game. And the White Sox bullpen's been good lately, but again, I don't trust it at all. So I decided to go with some recency numbers, which I think, you pointed this out, the walks and WHIP are a little bit high. And the metrics for Berrios over the last few starts aren't all that good. He might still dominate this White Sox lineup because it's just not that good a lineup without Jimenez, without Anderson. But I think Giolito can contain the Twins as well. I like the price in this game. I took first 5 Twins plus 120. That's the free play I posted at WagerTalk. It's the only game I bet on today.
The Twins or the White Sox?
Twins plus 120. Excuse me, White Sox. White Sox, yeah.
That's
White
okay.
Sox plus 120 first 5.
Okay.
White Sox plus 120.
And I'll throw one stat in for you, which this stat actually surprised me. Do you realize that the White Sox, in their division this year, they've played the role of spoiler. They're 15-5 against division opponents this season. So definitely they got the opportunity to play spoiler tonight as Minnesota is hearing those thundering footsteps from the Tribe. Speaking of the Tribe, we'll segue right into them. Ralph, you've got your Cleveland team. They're getting it done right now. They're finding ways to win the ball games. You got a matchup tonight where I was a little bit surprised. I thought this number might be a little bit higher, with Kansas City, especially Kansas City returning home off of the road trip. And I'll throw a stat out there for you. Kansas City, after a game with a combined score of 2 runs or less the last 3 seasons, Kansas City's just 2-17 in the next game. What do you think of your Tribe tonight?
I'm not surprised the line's where it's at because the Indians had a couple close games, and the Royals are 9-3 their last 12 games.
Oh, well.
And, they're playing as well as anyone. They're not hitting the ball. They're pitching very well. But you look at the Indians are getting it done one way, and that's with pitching. Bieber again last night, a complete game. Bauer the night before, a one-hitter into the ninth where, as Dave would say, another bullpen collapsed with Brad Hand giving it away. But the Indians' team ERA the last 20 days is 2.65. That's a team ERA. So, they're getting it done with pitching. The thing I'm gonna share the Joe Seafood angle of the day, and there are a couple variables here, so you got to think about it. But division home dogs up to $1.50, where the pitcher has the same season revenge from a loss as an away dog, and the pitcher lost his last start. Well, that's Montgomery in both, because he has revenge. His last start was against the Indians, his first start for the Royals. Those division away dogs, 72-44, 62%, plus 40 units. So you get a dog hitting 60-some percent, it's a play you have to look at. So again, it's a division home dog. The pitcher has revenge for revenge for a loss against the same team, and they lost their last game. So we'll see. Montgomery started his first start for the Royals against this Indians. Indians have hit lefties well. It's a game I'm just going to stay away from.
Dave, you look at Montgomery. It's a sample size of one start,
Montgomery.
but he was horrible.
Look at Montgomery. I don't want to look at the guy. He's terrible.
I can't back Kansas City here.
I only got one good eye. I don't want to screw it up by looking at that guy. He's terrible. Look, he just is. I hate to rag on a guy, but he's been just god awful this year. He didn't want to pitch out of the bullpen for the Cubs, so they traded him in that deal they made for Maldonado because the Cubs needed a catcher. And the Royals said, "Yeah, sure, we'll make you a starter." And he went out and just got destroyed. No, I don't want him, and I'm not laying that kind of a price with Plutko, who I think is kind of mediocre. Although they are 6-2 in his 8 starts, but hasn't really been Plutko. He actually, this might be a good ballpark for him. He's a fly ball pitcher, and fly balls don't always go a long way at Kansas City. So I'm not getting in the way of the Indians, but it's not a game I really considered playing either.
Yeah, two last stats on Kansas City. For lefties, for the Indians, as you touched on, Ralph, they're 22-10 this year versus lefties. And for Kansas City, the last 2 seasons against right-handers, they're now 67-121, almost losing 2 out of every 3 games. But that is what we have with the Royals. Moving on to the next game, talk about big prices. We've got one here, Baltimore at the Angels. But, Dave, I'm going to ask you the question. We talked about this on the radio show the other day about the Angels and how important the series is whenever they face the Dodgers. They're the little brother in the city of L.A. They ended up sweeping the Dodgers, both home and away. I got, from a situational standpoint, I got to worry about tonight's game. Coming back home, short trip, obviously, coming from playing at the Dodgers.
It's no trip. I mean,
so not a big deal there returning home, but you got to wonder, are they a little bit, are you a little fat and sassy? Let me throw it out there. I know it's Baltimore and they're bad, but that can make it a little easier to look past this team. And, I hate to point out the reality of the Angels. Right now, their pitching staff, they're really in, a world of hurt because the untimely death of Tyler Skaggs, obviously. Then Haney goes on the DL. Again. They've got guys that they've tried to plug and play that are really not doing it. And there's nothing down in the minors to bring up, Dave. I mean, who's the guy?
That's why they're not – I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. They just don't have the pitching. I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters against the Orioles. The Orioles are in the no play zone, If you want to gamble on Baltimore, good luck. They're 32-69. They're awful. I don't like Suarez that much, so the price is inflated here. But this is one of those cases where you might have some value on the Orioles because of the situation and because Suarez doesn't warrant being 220 over anybody. But you're still stuck taking the Orioles, and that's a losing proposition. It's not one of those situations where, like in football, you can have awful teams that cover spreads and can actually be profitable to bet on. Baltimore is not profitable to bet on. Okay, it doesn't matter how much they're getting from the odds makers; they will cost you money. So you just skip it and move on to the next game.
Ralph,
Angels, the first team since at least 2004 to have gone on the road and win as a 170 dog in back-to-back games, and then they're a 200 favorite at home in that next game. So who knows, like you said, how they will react. I will say this, good or bad, we know the Orioles are horrendous, but they are 8-10 on the road against lefties this year. So, like I said, it's not even a team I take a flyer on, but I certainly wouldn't back the Angels in the spot.
Throw out one stat, and this is one of those days of the week ones, and I know a lot of people cringe at it, but it's there. I'm going to say it. Over the last 2 seasons, when the Angels are at home on Thursday night, they have gone over in 14 of 16 games, and they've averaged 13.3 runs per game. This is definitely a pitching matchup that would support an over. They're coming off of a series where they didn't score a lot of runs in that series with the Dodgers. Some good pitching there, but I don't see good pitching coming out of these two tonight. I might take a little look at the over in this one with that Angels bullpen as well. Moving on to the next one and talk about a team. Here's another team, Texas. We talked about Colorado earlier that was in free fall. Texas just started to make a little bit of noise, and then all of a sudden they go on a 1-9 run. They're playing horrible baseball right now. Oakland, after playing very well for a 3-week stretch, they ran into some reality. They ran into 2 good ball clubs. They played Minnesota and they played the Astros. Now they come limping back home, but they got Anderson on the mound, and he is a guy that whenever he pitches at night, 10-2 this season are the A's. And Dave, Anderson I never look at as a dominating pitcher, but in those night games this season, the opposition's only averaging 2.8 runs a game.
No, he's been good, and lefties give Texas trouble. I have no problem at all justifying the money being on Oakland in this game, which it is. It opened 176. It's going to 190 now. Excuse me. Urado's been lousy for Texas. He's got some really bad numbers if he hangs around third time through the order, by the way. And he's got a hard hit rate that's in the 43% range. So Oakland should be able to knock him around. Brett Anderson's pitching very well. I didn't feel like laying this much of a price, but I think Oakland's the right side. Nevertheless, it's not an ideal spot for the A's coming out of a series where I thought they played well at Minnesota, and then a series where the Houston Astros said, GTFOH. Okay? You are not contending with us. And they swept them. And not really ideal circumstances for Oakland, but I want no part of the Rangers who have the regression has come. This team was never as good as they were playing in the first half, and now they're finding their level, which is a mediocre team.
Ralph, I'll throw you a stat. These are usually the kind of numbers you find, but the Oakland A's, the last 2 seasons, when they are a favorite in this price range of minus 175 to minus 250, and to be honest, I was surprised that there was 25 times that they were this big of a favorite. They're 22-3 when they're hefty chalk. That's pretty big number. I know you got to win at a high percentage whenever you're laying that kind of wood, but 22-3 is going to get you a profit. They're plus 16.6 units the last 2 seasons in that category.
Well, Marco, if you were following me on Twitter, you would have saw that earlier this morning I tweeted out When the A's are home, just as a home favorite of 160 or more, I'm not even giving you a range. When they're a home favorite of 160 or more, they're 34-5. So that says they take care of business. And I don't think the A's come back with their tail behind their legs. Dave, they did win. They did take one of the games against the Astros. Fires against Miley.
Yeah, that's right. They did. I forgot. They left Miley in for the ninth inning to try and get the shutout, and he wore out. Yeah, I stayed corrected.
They go to Minnesota. They split the series. They go to Houston. They lose to Verlander and Cole as a 200-plus dog, and they beat Miley, so they lose 2 or 3. To me, that's not that bad of a going 3-4. I think they have confidence coming home. I like them tonight.
All right, guys, and going to the last one, Detroit and Seattle's finally put a picture up early this morning. They still didn't have it. They're listing Swanson.
So he's an opener.
Yeah, I love these guys.
It's LeBlanc's. It's LeBlanc is the primary tonight.
Detroit's going with the young pitcher, not Verlander. Don't get excited, Tiger fans. It's Verhagen. They're probably hoping it can be a Verlander, but Dave, you know more about the young guys. What's the story?
He's been around. He's been up, I don't know, for like 3 years, pitching mostly out of the bullpen. He's had 4 career starts, and the Tigers lost them all. He's not very good. LeBlanc, you want to trust LeBlanc? Seattle will go up the favorite in this game. I'm not laying a price with the Mariners and LeBlanc. Or Swanson / LeBlanc. So I'll just happily pass this game. It would take an awful lot for me to bet the Tigers at this point in any game. They're the worst team in baseball. They're worse, and they're worse than the Orioles. I mean, they are the worst team. They're actually trailing the Orioles by 2 games now. So they're on the absolute no play list, and they're going to get worse because Matt Boyd and Castellanos are probably going to get dealt in the next week.
And you look at all you have to say to know how bad the Tigers are is Seattle's a -180 favorite. Seattle should not be.
There it is. Okay, popped up.
Yeah, you can't be -180 Seattle. I'm sorry, Ralph. I couldn't back them at that price even if I knew the score because I'd be worried it was a typo. Okay, because I wouldn't believe it. -180. How do you see this one?
There's certain games in life that you just put a big X through the sheet and keep going. And with these 2 pitchers I know nothing about, these are one of those games.
All right, good stuff. Hey, guys, anything you want to throw out as a free play or plug got going today at WagerTalk?
Well, I already did, which was the Twins-White Sox, and I took the White Sox first 5 plus 120-ish. And I lean Red Sox, and I lean Oakland even at the price, but I don't think I'm going to get involved.
Yeah, Ralph, anything from you?
Limited card. I just have one play up at WagerTalk. It's a 3% first 5 innings, so my options are pretty limited for today.
All right. Hey, little quick plug. The 3 of us will be in studio tonight. We took a few week hiatus for the summertime over the All-Star break and that, but the WagerTalk podcast is back tonight, guys, and we're coming back with vengeance. We're going to start breaking down some of the conference football, college football. Tonight, we'll start it off with the big conference, the SEC. We're also going to take a look at the conference right here for us, our hometown conference, the Mountain West. So we don't want to give you all of the big conferences. We're going to cover all of them, but we'll give you a good, Power 5 conference and then one of the other conferences each week here as we head into the season. Ralph, you're chomping at the bit there. What do you want?
Our listeners, just a little preview of tonight's Mountain West. They are going to say W, capital W, capital T, capital F when they hear my Mountain West predictions tonight.
Ralph, I say that a lot with you. All right, Dave and Ralph, you guys will be on Las Vegas Sports Line before the podcast today, 2 to 3 Vegas time. Who's on the show today?
It's CG Thursday, so I'll have probably Will Bernanke and Ralph Michaels will be with me, and we'll try and scope out some winners. We have the lines up, by the way, for the Hall of Fame game. They popped up this morning. Next, we got football next week, and we have a line on the very first game, which I know I won't be betting, but we'll talk about it anyway.
Yeah, Ralph over there, he's getting like all excited. You know, when lines start popping up for preseason football, for people that don't know, Ralph Michaels is a guru when it comes to preseason football. You've had some incredible preseason, and I know, Ralph, a lot of people, that's something we'll talk about on the podcast tonight. I'll go a little more in depth with you because a lot of people shy away from betting preseason football. It's a totally different handicap in short, but it's all about information, and nobody digs deeper than you do in finding those nuggets for preseason football.
It's the only legitimate time that you could bet a team that wants to win against a team that doesn't give a shit and doesn't care to win. All
right, good stuff, guys. Have a great show today. Thanks to Dave Cokin and Ralph Michaels for joining me this morning. I'm not sure if the Prez is going to, show up tomorrow or not. Where are you guys betting? He's on vacation. Is he going to actually do any work? Or am I going to be here tomorrow?
Coach was minus 180.
Okay. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later. This has been First Pitch for Thursday, July 25th. Cash some tickets today, guys. We'll talk to you tomorrow on First Pitch.
Okay.